I feel like every good show starts off with a banger intro. Are You Afraid of the Dark came out in 1991, and it was a 5-season show that ended in 96, and it was actually supposed to be just one Halloween special, but Nickelodeon bought it. And, well, sadly, we all know what happened during the 90s for Nickelodeon, even in the early 2000s of Nickelodeon. Yeah, maybe that's a video for the future, but we all know what happened with that. Today, we are going to talk about the first episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? And that is The Tales of a Phantom Cab. This is actually pretty interesting. I was really going in with an open mind because I haven't seen Are You Afraid of the Dark since I was 8 or 9. I don't remember, somewhere around there. You know, early 2000s kid over here. So I think it was like 2002, 2003 when I actually watched the show. So it's been a long time. I'm becoming an old man. You get the banger intro, of course. I actually forgot how good this intro is for Are You Afraid of the Dark. It's very nostalgic, and it's also kind of spooky. I really did enjoy it, like when I was watching this. Mind you, it's on Amazon. Everyone go watch on Amazon Prime right now, which is sick. This starts off with the Midnight Society Club. All these kids are walking out to the middle of the woods where there's just like a random bonfire, and they bring a kid out that's blindfolded. My first thought was like, oh my gosh, this is like a cult sacrifice show? I don't remember this as a kid. And they sit the kid down, and it's super 90s. You can just tell it's 90s. And I have to say this too. I hate saying this, but I'm gonna say it, especially because Stranger Things has really like set the bar for like child acting. Oh man, the acting in this is rough, especially for the kids. It's really bad in some scenes. You'll know. They all sit down, the kid that's blindfolded, they're like, you gotta tell us a really scary story before you can join the club. And the kid's like, all right, I'll do that. And that's how we start with The Tale of the Phantom Cab. The real story starts off with Denny. He is described as big, strong, and smart. Even though that's kind of a lie when you learn later on that Denny is not really like a smart kid. But I also always love the description of kids, like especially in like kids books or shows, that they're like, he's so big and strong, and you see him and he's just like a string bean kid that's maybe like 5'4", like 120 pounds soaking wet. It always cracks me up. That's like, this is a big kid. Maybe that's just me. And then you have his little brother named Buzz. And when I think of Buzz, I think of Home Alone Buzz. Now that is a kid that you would describe as big and strong. You know, like that, how Buzz is like his physique is built compared to Denny. Doesn't matter. But Buzz is a geek, and all he's trying to do is just prove to his brother that he is cool. He wants to be just like him. So that's kind of cool, I guess. I mean, I understand. I mean, I have an older brother. He is almost 10 years older than me. So I feel that, like, I understand that little part of it, but also it's like, I don't know, and if you look at them, one's blonde hair, the other one's brown hair, and it's like, they don't even look like brothers, so it's just, I don't know, you know, acting, you know, auditioning, all that stuff, casting. So the brothers are out in the woods. They are like hiking, and I think they're looking for like treasure or something. It doesn't really tell you what they're doing out in the woods. They're just like hiking. Buzz has the compass, and they have a map. So the two of them are out there, and of course, when Buzz struggles trying to find anything on the map, Denny, instead of just helping, he just likes to remind him how much of a loser he is, or like an idiot, which is just hilarious. It's a very typical thing to me, like rewatching stuff. I'm just like, holy crap, it blows my mind how typical you, like, just how normal this is like calling your younger siblings losers and stuff. And it's like, I do that. I mean, I still do that with my younger sister, but that's different. We're 90s kids. We're tougher, I guess. I don't know. So they're out there, and then guess what? Buzz destroys the map, and it's ruined. And of course, Denny's freaking out, calling him an idiot, calling him a loser, calling him a mistake. You know, he's like, Mom called you a mistake. You know, you're not actually my real brother. You're actually the mailman's son. All that. You know, it's just that trauma that we all love. So then Denny tells Buzz, like, hey, over there, don't go over there. You know, it's the cliff. Be careful. No joke. As soon as he said that, Buzz falls off the cliff. And I'm going to tell you, the whole scene of that is so bad that I laughed. I had to pause the episode and laugh because it was so stupid. And I kept laughing. I was like, oh my gosh. The acting in this is horrendous. And I didn't feel like I was like suspense or anything because it was just so bad. Denny saves Buzz. And guess what? They're lost. Buzz is like, hey, I got a compass. So they use the compass. And he's holding it down by like his waist and just following it. And there's like a scene where the, because it's like in the middle of the night now and they're like lost. And they're trying to figure out why they're lost. Buzz is like, well, the compass is working. And it shows, and it's just like a scene of it's just moving. It's just so bad. Denny walks over there and moves his hand up because the compass is pointing at his belt buckle because it's metal, and they're like, say we've been lost this whole time, you're an idiot. So that's really good, you know, that really builds up the tension of what's about to happen. So the boys are walking, they find this random dude who's just walking in the woods, and one of them are like, what if he's like a ranger? What if he's a guy that has a hockey mask on and he's gonna try and kill us? And it's like, yeah. Friday the 13th reference. Nice. It was just really cheesy. I'm gonna make a whole video about Friday the 13th. I can't wait because I have such great opinions about that franchise. So then they meet the dude and he starts talking to him because they're lost. And this dude who's just out there chilling is just, you know, hanging out. And they ask him, hey, do you know where we can find a phone to call our parents? And he's like, I got the best place for you. There's this doctor. There's this like weird hermit dude that lives out in his cabin. He'll help you. Are you good with riddles? Likes to mention that too. Are you good with riddles? So then the two boys follow this weird man out to this cabin, and then you see the cabin and it's kind of just in the middle of nowhere, and they turn around and the guy's gone. He's vanished. And they're like, oh my gosh, where did he go? And they had nowhere else to go, apparently, besides going to the cabin. This is where I didn't understand, because they had the compass, right? But the compass probably would have worked if, like, Denny used it instead. Because clearly Buzz was holding it wrong. So, like, why didn't Denny just grab it? But, like, Buzz, like, took off and run. It was just so ridiculous, this whole idea. So they're, like, slowly walking up to this cabin and in the bushes. And it's so funny, because you see the bushes, and it's clearly that someone's just grabbing the bushes and going like this. But you hear like screaming by it. And then it cuts to the kids, and the kids are like, oh. And then it cuts back to the bushes, and the bushes are shaking with more screaming. It's so hilarious of just how cheap this show is. Then the kids go up to the house. Of course, the doctor's there. Dr. Vink. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, this guy looks like he's on a list. There's probably a reason why he's out in this cabin. I'm just saying he's probably on a list somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if there was one day you saw him on the news. They're like, hey, there he is. You know, it could be one of those things. So anyways, he invites him in the house. Now, I actually thought when I first saw this part, besides him being on the list, I actually thought of like Hansel and Gretel. Then I'm like, ooh, maybe it's gonna be full of candy. Maybe he's gonna lure him in there and eat him, kind of just like Hansel and Gretel. Completely wrong. This is just a weird dude that's just like doing weird things out there, and he wants the kids to do a riddle, and the kids answer the first riddle pretty easily. Buzz answers it pretty easily because he's a geek, remember, and Denny's smart, but Denny's also like an idiot in this. So I don't understand why they're calling him smart, but he's also kind of an idiot. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? I don't know anything anymore. I'm just a guy with a microphone. So Dr. Vink gives him a riddle, and it's like, what is a barrel? But it's lighter when it goes in there, but when it's open, it's heavier. I don't remember exactly because I'm really bad at riddles, so I'm just an idiot. I literally read this riddle the other day, and it's the first like 3 words. It was like, who's the name of this or whatever, and it said Teresa, there's a name, and it's Teresa, and I'm so dumb, so there was that. I'm not good at riddles, so I'd be screwed. I'd be in Denny's spot. Dr. Vink is like, you guys have to answer this riddle, and they're like, no, we need to talk on the phone. So Dr. Vink grabs like giant, scissors, and goes up to the court. He's like, if you don't answer this riddle, I'll cut the line. And I'm like, why don't you guys just leave? Like, why are we in this whole thing? You guys have a compass that could lead you out of there, essentially, but then you guys don't. So then we're there. He tells the riddle, the boys fail, and Dr. Vink's like, oh, shucks. You gotta go out to the cab. Of course, the boys are like, what cab? All that, yada, yada, yada. But then Dr. Vink's like, well, actually, you could just stay here and be one of my subjects. So the boys are like, oh, F that, and they run out of there. And then they see the cab. And guess who's driving the cab? It's Finn. But you don't know that at first. His face is all white and stuff, and you're like, what is going on? But he's actually a ghost. And what happens is, he died like 40 years ago, and it's just like a curse. And he's been trying to get people to break the curse for like 40 years, just trying to solve this one riddle. And my thought is, all right, you're running the kids to solve this riddle. But what if the kids are just not good at riddles? Like, I'm not good at riddles. So like, why that? He told them this whole lore that if they don't figure this out, they're gonna die just like he did, drive into a tree, and they're all gonna die. And he said it's really fun, and you only have 30 seconds to do it. And then Denny, instead of being helpful, calls Buzz an idiot and telling Buzz, you gotta figure this out. Come on, dummy, idiot, stupid face, freaking figure it out. Like that. So you're sitting there like, oh my gosh. And you don't really feel like, oh my gosh, this needs to happen. I didn't feel it. I mean, yet again, this is targeted towards kids, so I don't know. But Buzz figures it out because there's a hole at the bottom of the barrel. Buzz figures it out, and guess what? The whole thing disappears. The kids get yeeted out of the car, and they're next to a tree, and then a Jeep comes up, and the kids get really scared, and then guess what? It's a ranger. And the ranger's like, oh my gosh, your parents have been worried sick about you boys. And that's what happens. And that's how it ends. So then the end happens. The Midnight Society are like, whoa, what a scary story. And I'm like, what? You know, like, what do you mean? After the kid tells the story, the Midnight Society have to vote. And they all give a thumbs up. And he's a part of the gang. And he takes off the bandana, and they're all hugging, cheering. They're like, yo, dude, you killed that terrible story. You're a part of it now. I try to sit there and think about this a lot. And I try not to go too hard on kid shows from the 90s, because they are pretty cringe, but they are so much fun because they're so stupid. Just, they're super low budget. The acting is not very good. Just, there's a lot to it. And I'm not going to sit there and try and hate on it too much. Except for this one video, I'm going to hate on as much as I can. This was a very fun, comical episode, and I actually plan on watching more of them in the future. I just really want to do something special for Halloween, and I thought it would be kind of fun doing a lot of nostalgia shows that I grew up watching, and movies possibly, of just what I grew up watching, and just wanting to revisit them. So that's why I decided Are You Afraid of the Dark is definitely one of them, and plus it's on Amazon Prime, and my mom has it, so I'm like, let's do it. So yes. Now, if I had to give a rating for this episode, probably like a 2 out of 5. I don't think it was very good. I definitely don't think it was very scary. I just think it was just not good in general. And will they get better? I have no idea. Maybe in the future we'll watch one that is more popular and maybe it'll be better. But until next time, stay safe, everyone.